God, I can't wait to fucking... Oh!
See.
Alright, I'm in.
Yes, you are smart.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm in.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
Not much. I'm just gonna add my friend Nick.
Yeah.
Neck music. Ouch.
Yo, what's up, Nick?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing good.
Well,
Hello?
I guess it's about time we got this party kicked off then.
Yeah, sure.
Although I'm not really saying what to say. Not sure what to say to like really open the statement up here.
Why did you post child porn?
Yeah.
Really? Really now?
What do you
You
mean?
did, yeah.
Yeah.
So if
You
it's
mean
censored
really?
and cropped to put certain parts out, that still qualifies?
Yeah, how do you explain Japanese porn in that case?
That's an entirely different thing.
Well, no,
I
it
mean
isn't. They censor the
that's
genitals,
intended
but it's
to
still porn.
that's intended to be explicit, where that was more or less intended for the purpose of commentary.
Well, either
Well,
way,
And
how
she was still butt
I
ass
Wait,
naked.
realized that I went
what?
too far and gotten rid of it because I realized that this was just way too much and it was a little bit inconsiderate to put it all out
A
there like that.
little bit inconsiderate? Are you for real right now? A little inconsiderate?
Okay, very inconsiderate.
That was a really disgusting thing to do. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even that close with Emery, but that was gross. Like,
Okay, I get it. It was wrong. You
I don't
don't
think you
need to
do.
like browbeat me with it, dude. I'm pretty aware of how bad it was when I thought it over.
You were like just saying like it was a little inconsiderate, but it wasn't that fucked up. You were like kind of justifying it a little, so I don't know what this like. I get it. I'm you know I'm I'm just a poor little baby bird. Like,
Nope,
leave me alone.
not a
I
baby
don't know where that's
bird or
coming
any
from.
shit like that. Like I'm willing to admit what I did was wrong. That's why I undid it. That's why I got rid of the image because I realized I took it way too far.
Yeah, but you're saying it's not child porn, and it was.
You do realize though that he had created it himself, right?
That, that doesn't change anything. It's still,
Yeah,
it's
that
still child
changes
porn.
literally nothing.
Well, to put that issue aside just for a moment, just to put it aside just for a moment. Despite the fact that I knowingly got rid of it afterwards, after I realized how far it went, is it really still worth discussing?
Yeah, because you posted child porn, you can't like undo that. That's like an action where once you've done it, you can't go back.
You mean like dropping someone's location?
What's that in
What?
reference to?
Well, think about it. Other people have done similar shit to me. It's not like it's that far apart.
Who? Who's done that?
Dude, if you really need me to start pulling names out, then you really haven't been paying very much attention.
Okay, wait.
Name
Yeah,
names. Name names.
yeah. Just for the sake of argument.
Let's see, there's been Marbles, Heather, Marbles' other profile.
When did
Emery's done it at
Marbles
some point in
release?
time in my Facebook profile.
When did they release your address?
Marbles used his Jesse Ezrick phone with logic and commented my actual physical address in one of my girlfriend's comment sections.
When? I never saw that.
I didn't either.
I've never seen that either, Gage.
She blocked him, so the comment is most likely gone. That was almost 6 months ago.
I don't. I don't remember that.
Same.
Did you actually go to see it though, or did he actually tell you about it? Because if he didn't tell you to look at it, you're not going to see it.
Which Fun with Logic account was it? Because there's more than one. There was the
It
one.
was the Jesse Ezrick phone with logic.
Okay. And it gave
It
like
was
your
the
actual
same.
address.
It was, yes, he actually gave the actual corresponding physical address.
I don't remember that. I never seen it.
Same.
Like I said, it depends on if he actually told you or showed you. Like if he didn't do that, then you wouldn't know.
What about Heather and Emery then? When did they post your address?
Heather actually contacted relatives of my family, as well as naming my hometown where I live, saying my whole family will be outed.
Yeah, she was warning
That's
them
not.
though.
The choice of words didn't exactly come off as a warning.
Yeah, but then she clarified, and then the other messages showed she said, "I'm sorry for the way I worded it," and she said it was fine. I've seen like the screenshots. She
It's
apologized
funny.
for it.
I don't. I don't get why it is like
I've
she
never
didn't
seen
try
any
to apologize to me.
screenshots.
Like why didn't she apologize to me then instead of just saying it to my aunt?
I've
Because
never seen like any screenshots beyond what you've shown me, Gage. The only thing you've shown me is when
My aunt didn't
the
send me the rest.
your
Like
aunt didn't send you the rest.
I need to talk to her and ask her about it. Like
Oh,
I've just heard about this just now.
are you
okay.
serious, Gage?
Yeah, I'm serious. My guess is she probably didn't tell me about it because she most likely figured the issue had been resolved.
But
Well,
she
we've been talking
mentioned,
about this forever, man.
That's how she is. Like the odds are she probably figured it was all over with and probably didn't figure it was relevant to show me.
well, either way, like Heather wasn't like trying to fuck with you or anything. She heard that people were gonna like out your, or was it out your family and stuff, and she like your aunt knows a warning.
Then why didn't she just like contact me directly instead of trying to like tell my members of my family? You could have told me and it would have cleared everything out right up from the very beginning.
Well, she decided that since she, if someone's contacting someone's family, then generally you might not end up finding out. It might end up being that the family gets to, like, your family ends up finding it out before you do. So it'd be best to go to the people who are going to know about it first, as a way to, like, caution them.
Thing is, though, it also would have been a lot simpler if she had just told me this flat out too, instead of just only telling someone that might not tell me about it.
Well, I can't really fault Heather for that. I mean, that's more hindsight, if anything.
Yes, but you also have to acknowledge, though, a person's responsible for who they decide to contact about certain things.
Okay. Either
Like that
way,
also comes into personal responsibility. Like you can't just tell like one person and expect that one person to just circulate it because you can't leave shit like that up to chance because then it does shit like this where it just leads to one massive clusterfuck of culminating circumstances which just create a bigger problem than necessarily needed to be.
yeah, but she did try to, like, confront you about it, and she has tried to, like, clarify it.
Like I'm willing to acknowledge that I was wrong about some pretty stupid shit I said, and I was willing to admit that I took shit a little bit too far recently. But that still doesn't mean that certain things they did are like completely justified. It doesn't just wipe all that away.
Like what?
Well, they could ignore the fact that they tried to use my girlfriend's emotional problems as a dartboard for people to pang at and shit on.
In, like, Marvel's first video?
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay. What
Thing
about...
is though, like you don't see me doing that though. I didn't go after like shit in his like personal life. That's none of my concern. I didn't start shitting on that.
You you try to, like, inquire about, what's it, like, his high school and stuff.
It's because I wanted to know who I was dealing with. That's not as personal as actually going and seeing someone crying and shit and saying, "Here, shit on this person. Here, make them feel shitty about themselves."
Well, what about Emery then? When's he released your address?
He's actually contacted me on Facebook a couple times. The thing is, though, he pretty much has told me in certain messages that he will tell people my hometown, and that if people do find out my hometown, then it won't be too long before they find out where I live in the actual town. But the fact is, Emery has done, like, you were in the call, Lackland. Like, you've heard Emery. He said multiple times to my face in one call, "Hey, I'm gonna rape your girlfriend. Hey, I'm gonna rape your girlfriend."
Yeah, but
Like,
Emery has a tendency to, like, joke.
that's not a joke, dude. Like, sexual assault is never a fucking joke. That's like walking up to someone who just got stabbed 12 times and say, "Hey, do you want to play a game like you want to eat some shish kebabs afterwards, like making a joke about the food being stabbed, like the person was stabbed.
Or just
What?
it's it,
Didn't you make domestic abuse jokes like a little while ago? Is that something that we can all just joke about now too?
I mean, like how Emery made a domestic abuse joke as well, and how he made it the point saying that it was okay.
When did he do that? I
You
don't
were
remember
in the
that.
call, Nick. You and Lachlan were in the call, and
I
Emery
honestly, I
said
swear to
that
God, I
if it's in the
really.
middle of a fight, Emery claimed that if a fight was going on, that the man should be allowed to strike the woman, which is, it's not okay. Like you should get like a safe distance from each other to calm down. There's a big difference between like people making a joke about it and you know it's a joke and they know that's based only on conjecture, where instead of someone like openly endorsing it.
I honestly, I'm telling you, like, sincerely, I really don't remember that. I remember other shit in the call.
I know Lachlan recorded it. Like I think you should be able to watch it. Like I think it's in there at some point in time. I'm not sure exactly
Is he?
where, but I know it's
I
mentioned.
well, either way, the point wasn't like, you know, like you were wrong for making the jokes. It was more like that it's like a point of hypocrisy, you know?
yeah.
I understand the point.
Right.
Thing is, I'm willing to admit I was wrong about certain shit. I'm willing to admit certain shit had gone way too far. I'm not gonna bullshit people and run you around in circles about that. But the fact is, like, when you see how things go back and forth, it's just inevitable that someone's gonna do something just way out of the park, and then they're gonna be like, "Well, wait a minute, yeah, this is too much. This is a bit extreme. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna try to wind it back a bit, just to be a little bit more considerate for the people who it may be affecting."
Yeah.
Like the reason I took the image out wasn't out of fear. It was just out of, well, wait a minute, this is too far. This could be too fucking much. I'm laying it on a bit too thick. Let's just tone it down because it's going to cause more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, but you still posted child porn. Like, why? I really want to know why did you think it was okay in the first place to do it?
It wasn't really intended to be the way it was presented. It was more or less just intended to be like an attempt at humor, but the problem was I didn't bother to crop it well enough to really make sure that it wasn't as offensive as it was.
So
Wait, you still
what was?
still viewed the original image then, Gage? Like to crop it then, right?
Actually, it was mostly cropped already. Like it was already censored in the initial copy that was on Bing, but I figured I should probably add more censorship to it just to make sure it's not as bad. But the problem was, even then, it didn't pan out like I hoped.
Well, yeah.
What
I
were you
mean,
hoping?
I was just hoping that it was going to be just this gesture that everyone could just laugh off, but I didn't realize how bad it had gotten.
Laugh off? Really? You thought everyone would laugh off that that supposed child porn? Sorry, that actual child porn image of Gage, not Gage.
Supposed.
Emery. I
You
said
just
actual.
said supposed yourself.
I said actual, but okay, whatever. You fucking posted it, so it's not even on me.
But didn't Emery also post it initially?
Yeah, but the child doesn't get in trouble for like
Yeah,
initially
that's-
circulating it.
But
Yeah.
doesn't that fall upon lines of personal responsibility when someone does something that could leave them up to
Well,
scrutiny?
But you can't base it between like a 14-year-old making a dumb decision based on like an adult posting the picture when
Yeah.
they should know better.
So even though I actually removed the image and am willing to apologize for the fact that it was a bit too much, like apparently that just somehow doesn't mean a fucking thing. Is that what you're trying to get?
It's different in the case of child porn. Like if you make, let's say if you make like a bad argument or something and you think back on it and you apologize for it, like yeah, that can be something people can like brush off. But child porn isn't. It's way too serious of a thing to just like apologize for. That has like legal ramifications.
Even though it wasn't intended to be the way it was received.
Tell that to a judge, they won't care.
Yeah.
So is your argument just the fact that it's there automatically makes someone a horrible person, or is it just the argument that if someone puts it up there and then someone scrutinizes it, that just doesn't matter?
Well, the point is whether or not someone was like a horrible person beforehand, you still did like a horrible act of posting child porn, and it's something you can't undo.
Yeah.
So what happens now?
I don't know.
Whatever. I mean, anyone. The image is out there of like, you posting it. Anyone can do whatever they want with it at this point.
Yeah, but the problem is though, like considering how long it's been floating around, the statute is pretty much expired.
What?
There's a legal statute relating to images. Like if it's a minor posting an image of themselves, for example, unless the person has a direct, like unless the person actually coerces the minor into said image, and especially if the image has been out for say 3 years, for example, like if it's out there like on a public forum, for example, like if it's on like a Bing search, which is the only reason I really ran across it was a Bing search, that would be more or less fall upon the responsibility of whoever initially posted it to Bing and not the person who had received it.
You found it through a Bing search?
Yeah, look it up on Bing.
Honestly,
Just type in Emery Bowman on Bing.
I kind of don't want to. So.
Well, it's going to show him. It shows that one still image of his face, and then him with his dogs, and then that.
Okay. I don't know whether or not I'm going to believe that.
Well, you don't have to believe it. I could just screen share it.
Please don't.
Yeah, I'm good.
Please don't.
Well, not the image itself, just the search result page.
Either way, like, it was on Encyclopedia Dramatica either way, and, like, that website, it's not as if they really have, like, the best moral compass. And that's probably the reason it showed up in, like, your Bing search.
Probably, because Encyclopedia Dramatica is probably one of Bing's biggest sources when it comes to, like, lesser-known people on the YouTube community.
Well, it'd still show up anyway. I know there's lots of stuff, like, you can search my name and find stuff, even though I'm, like, a small channel.
That and the fact that you're anonymous.
I'm anonymous?
Well, like, I don't know if you've ever shown your face. I don't think you have. Thusly, I think all that would pop up is just your avatar.
No, I'll show my face.
Are you not aware that Lachlan is Burn Coalition, man?
I figured as much. I had my suspicions, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never
he
really
pretty much
figure
shows
people
his
make so many
face
accounts.
in, like all of his videos, unless he's doing like a gameplay or something, he shows his face when he's doing his videos.
I just figured Lachlan and Burn Coalition were two separate entities. I didn't really watch any of their stuff.
Yeah, well, Pen Flute is just basically his archive channel, so.
Yeah.
So more or less, that's just used for record keeping.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, legally there can be no action can actually be taken given the fact the statute for the image having been up in the first place has been expired by well over 30 times its standard rate.
That doesn't apply with child porn. If I were to take, like, if the police were to find a picture of child porn on my computer and I told them, oh, it's, like, from years ago, I'd still get arrested for it. I'd still have, like, legal shit on there. Like,
the law doesn't, like, have a time limit based off of, like, how old a child porn image is. That wouldn't make any sense.
So what exactly happens? Like, what is this discussion even about at this point?
You posting child porn.
So more or less, I'm going to be labeled a sex offender even though the image wasn't intended to be used for that purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, you'd still get called a sex offender for that stuff, regardless of, like, the ramifications. Like, just because you haven't went out and, like, committed, like, a sexual crime against someone doesn't mean that possessing an image of child porn doesn't register you like a sex offender.
So more or less, one action which was a tasteless joke is more or less going to be used to paint someone for their entire life.
If it's child porn, yes.
That's kind of fucked up.
So is posting child porn.
I mean, you can pull all these little veiled jabs that you want, Nick, but the fact is it was intended just to be an ill-received joke.
It doesn't matter what it was intended for. You still posted child porn. The law doesn't give a shit if you were trying to make a stupid joke. They just all they'll see is that this person posted a picture of a naked kid, of a once naked kid that's been cropped out. That's all they'll see.
But if it's been cropped out at that point, wouldn't it be a different image entirely?
No, as I
Not
mentioned,
necessarily.
Japanese porn. The point is, if an image is meant to be sexually explicit of a kid, then it still qualifies as child porn. That's the definition of child porn.
I understand the definition, but the fact is, isn't the intended use also a determining factor in whether or not someone's legally ramification?
No.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you really think about it too, like, from the law's perspective, like, why should they give a shit what the intended purpose was? Someone with like child porn could say like, "Hey, I was just using this for like historical purposes or some shit like that," and by your logic, the law was supposed to like let them off the hook for that. Like, is that how it's supposed to work? Because how are they supposed to?
I'm not saying that's how it's supposed to work. I'm just saying, like, if you actually put like a title that's meant to be humorous and edit it by making it breathe fire, for example, that's a sign that it's not intended to be something sexual. That it's not the purpose of the person who initially placed it. Like, if it was left in its initial state, I'd understand. But the fact is, if someone literally turns it into a different image entirely, then I don't understand how it's supposed to be held up to the same standard.
You cut out a little. What did you say? Sorry.
Thing is, though, if someone puts another title over it and edits it for the sole purpose of, well, making it breathe fire, for example, like if it's breathing fire and there's a different title put across the screen, is it also meant to be the same thing, or does it become a new image entirely based upon that?
I think it's just different because it's like a naked image of a child. It doesn't really matter. Like, the fact is, it was there at one point. It was still a fucked up image.
I understand that it was there at some point, but I'm willing to acknowledge the fact that it was way too far, and I've already gotten rid of it in more ways than one, just to make sure that I would not want to have to deal with the potential guilt of knowing that I did something that shitty.
Okay, that's still not an excuse, though.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying that if someone's willing to own up to what they did and admit what they did is wrong, there's really no point to really bring it out now because it's already been resolved.
I don't know about that.
Well, what resolution in your mind would make sense, Nick? Like, are you saying that someone should literally be like calling the cops about something as facile as that, despite the fact that it was only up there for like 4 hours before someone decided, well, wait a minute, this is too much, I'm going to tone it down?
I'm just saying that you shouldn't have posted it in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay,
what
I get it.
Law
Like, it doesn't matter
resolution
how
should have
long
been.
it's up there.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I acknowledge the fact that it shouldn't have been posted, and then I actually changed it. That way it would better reflect my better judgment.
Okay. You keep saying that, but the law
It's
doesn't
because
work
it's
like
true.
that. You can't commit a crime and be like, "Oh, I realize what my crime was is wrong. Please let me off the hook."
I'm not saying being let off the hook. I'm just saying that unless I actually do something more malicious that could actually permanently affect something, there's really no point in pursuing it. Like, if it was up there for years and years and years and years, if it was like widely circulated for all to see, then I would get it.
Doesn't re- It's really as far as I can go with that. If you're not just getting it at this point.
You're right, I'm not. Because I really don't give a shit.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Like, I'm
nice.
willing to acknowledge that what I did was wrong. I'm willing to acknowledge that I took it too far, but when it comes to, like, well, what else do you want me to fucking do? Like, I can't really do shit about it now. Like, it's not like I can fucking jump in the Wayback Machine and go all the way back to yesterday, hop back on YouTube and say, dude, hold on. You're taking this too far. Just get rid of that. You'll be fine if that's gone. Just tone it back. Like, I can't physically undo something like that. And I'm willing to admit that I can't undo it. So there's, like, I don't know what the fuck else you want me to do. Like, what the fuck's the point?
Just saying you shouldn't have posted it in the first place.
Okay, you're saying that, and I understand that, and I agree with that, but that is not going to change the fact that it happened. Like
I agree.
if I could have undone it in the first place, I would have undone it. But I did the
But
best
you
I
didn't.
could to remedy the situation. That's really all I can do, unless someone has a fucking time machine lying around.
I, whatever. You're not getting it.
I know what you're saying. I know that you're saying I shouldn't have done it, and I understand I shouldn't have done it. But I've done all I can to really remedy the problem.
It
Like
feels
I
like you're
can't,
making excuses, though.
like I can't really fix
Yeah.
it beyond that point. No, an excuse would be me saying I don't want to fix it, therefore I won't. Thing is, what I'm saying is I have tried to fix it, but that's as far as I can go. I can't physically do anything else about it at this point. Like
You were like not
what the fuck
contending
do
that it
you
was
want me to
child
do?
porn. You
Well,
were
what
like,
the fuck do you want me to do?
I was. The point
Like
was, is like,
what do you recommend we do? Because I physically can't do anything else about it. Like you don't seem to understand that. Like what's done is done and cannot be undone. And I have tried my best to remedy the problem and potentially cut the root of the issue out. But you seem to think that if I try to remedy the problem, that it's meant to be an evasion. It's not meant to be an evasion.
I
I
never
just
said that.
thought
I was
about
saying
it
like
enough.
you.
I realized that it's way too far.
The excuses were coming to the fact like you were trying to defend that it wasn't child porn when it was. You're like,
So you're saying that even if it was from just the torso up, it would still be considered so?
as said, the Japanese porn analogy.
Yeah, you've used the analogy, but the thing is, though, there's a difference between certain parts being answered but the thing being implied, whereas almost all of it being censored and nothing being implied.
That doesn't like affect the law though.
I'm not saying it affects the law. I'm just saying that if you're going to say something about it, the least you should do is try to acknowledge the fact that someone has done what they could to try to make up for it or potentially remedy the situation.
I feel like
I'm not
once.
saying I'm not saying it should affect the legal guidelines here, but I'm saying it's pretty cut and dry that I can't really do shit about it at this point.
Well, yeah,
I've
but
done what I can.
it. You don't see it as unfair for someone to like have like a permanent issue with that though.
I understand that there's an issue with it. That's why I dialed it down because I realized that it was way too far. I wanted to be a little bit more considerate as to how it would affect Emery.
And people can still like hold that against you though for the fact that you did it.
And if they want to, they can. I'm not going to tell them that they can't. I'm not going to say that it's wrong for them to be pissed off about it. But they should also understand that I'm willing to take accountability for it and that I'm willing to just take it on the chin and say, okay, I fucked up. This was a little bit too far.
But do you have a problem with what Nick's saying then? That's pretty much what he said.
Like, I understand what he's getting at. The problem is, though, he just keeps reiterating it over and over again when I've already established that pretty much I acknowledge and understand that what I did was wrong. Like, trying to reiterate it 30 times over again it's not gonna reinforce that fact. It's just gonna sound repetitive at that point.
Either way, like, you know, I can get him having like a permanent issue with it. I have a permanent issue with it.
And if you want to, you can. I'm not gonna tell you you can't.
Okay.
It wasn't intended to be offending anyone or be potentially explicit, but I can't really do shit about it other than what I've already did to try to remedy the solution. That's really all I can do.
I know.
So what do you want? Like
Oh,
I've already acknowledged that it's wrong. And Emery, if you're watching this or if you will watch it, I am sorry because I understand that I took it a little bit too far. I apologize to you because I realized that I should have been a little bit more considerate of your feelings and how this will make you feel. I understand that, and I hope that we can move past this.
Emery doesn't give a shit about you.
I know, I just figured that I'd still offer the apology regardless. I figure I'm gonna at least try to be the bigger person out of this issue. Like, I fucked up, and I'm gonna acknowledge that I fucked up. I'm not gonna pretend I didn't. Like, you're not gonna make me fucking break down and shit, but I am gonna apologize like an adult and take accountability for what I did.
I don't think anyone's trying to make you break down, man.
I know.
So why'd you bring it up then?
Yeah.
Do you
Just
think
felt
like that one of us are gonna like make you cry?
it's not that. It's just that normally when you see these sort of debates on Skype, usually somebody uses usually they use some sort of intimidation tactic or another to try to leverage the person into feeling like a complete sack of shit, to be honest. Like, I already feel shitty about it, though, just so we can all clear the air. I am already feeling pretty shitty about it. I'm not going to pretend that I'm perfectly fine with my actions.
You were like excusing it kind of a little while. Like you weren't. See, my thing is like you still like were excusing that it like wasn't child porn. That's my thing. And to me, that's kind of like the same as excusing it.
Yeah, it is excusing it.
I have to agree.
Well, alright then. Okay, well, is there anything else anybody wants to say, or is this just going to be like another almost 9 minutes of awkward silence?
Well, I did want to actually talk about the the whole Heather thing since we're all here now. About those messages. I know we spoke about it briefly, but I wanted to get to the bottom of it because Gage, honestly, I believe that she was just genuinely trying to warn your family that people were going to like say things or like reveal your address and stuff, but you still seem to think that it was some sort of attack.
Well, hearing this new information, I'm willing to lend credibility to the fact that it might not have been intended as a threat. But I need to ask members of my family to actually show me the messages just to 100% confirm what Lachlan said.
Oh, the messages have been out there. They were in one of Marbles' videos.
Well, I just don't watch his videos because I just want to avoid him. That's the only reason I haven't seen them.
Okay.
Like, I just want to avoid him because honestly, I feel as though this whole thing has gone on for way too fucking long.
Yeah, but like you still like making videos and stuff. Like everyone.
That was just intended to just like let it all out of my system, just to finally get it all out. Just let it all out in the open. That way, it's no longer there. That way, I won't be thinking about it. That way, I'll just be able to go.
It just seems like every time, like people in Cloud9, like try to move on from the situation, and it's like they leave you alone. Like you bring something up, and like of course they're gonna like bring like something up if you're like criticizing them.
Like, I'm not gonna apologize for that, but I am simply gonna say that it was not intended to be an attack. Like, it wasn't meant to be this big thing that'll kick things off again. This was just, I'm just finally gonna get this all out of my system at last. Like, I've said bits and pieces of it in certain videos in the past, but I have never actually had time to just sit down and just vent all the frustration towards the situation out. Like, I had never actually had time up till recently to just let it all out, just to let it just all finally die.
Do you still have like an issue with Marbles over like what's it, the female runner stuff and the seizure stuff? Because that was been
I'm willing to
done.
admit, I'm over that. I've been over that for a
Okay.
while.
Okay.
Like, I didn't really care about any of that. It was just the shit he did personally afterwards. That's what fueled the fire.
Well, that was
That's
like
what
the
initially fed it.
well, that was like the initial issue you had with him wasn't it like you watched what Stevie said and you like had an
Yeah,
issue?
but then after a while, I ended up like I did more reason. Like, David pointed some stuff out to me that he had shown that both you and Marbles had shown him, which helped prove Marbles innocent of the accusation. Which honestly, I would have watched it much sooner. But the problem is, when you guys were trying to show that shit to me, I was like really too fucking pissed off to really lend credence to it because honestly, I was fuming at that point.
All right.
Like, if he had simply done it like right off the bat or waited for me to like calm down, I would have been more amicable. I would have been more willing to view it if he had actually just said right off the bat, "Well, I understand that you have this idea, but let me show you that this is not right." But the thing is, though, like when you troll someone after they say something shitty instead of proving them wrong, it's not really gonna make them want to believe you. That's the thing. Like someone's not gonna want to believe you if you say a whole bunch of irritating shit to them. If they say something towards you, the best thing to do is just show them that they're wrong.
Well, if someone's like coming forth to you and like getting angry with you, then like a lot of the time people are gonna dismiss it. If someone's like so heated and seem like unwilling to listen, like he could have easily saw that message and just interpreted you as a fanboy, and that's why he probably was dismissive. And even so, like Giba tried to bring it up in his very first video to you, like, you know, ways you could find out that it was false. He gave like redirections.
Like the only reason I didn't believe Eber is just because like the ways he had handled other shit that I said earlier, it was really hard for me to take him seriously because I didn't know if it was just gonna be like shit that he's saying to fuck with me, because at that point I wasn't sure. Like after a while, like David pointed some shit out that you had, excuse me, that he had pointed out, and I actually listened. It's like, okay, this makes sense. This issue with Flex and everything, this makes sense. This lends credence to the thought that it couldn't have happened. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, this concludes that it couldn't have happened and that it's hearsay. But the thing is, even though I was willing to admit I was wrong about that, the only thing that really got me more angry, like even after I was managed to let those starting issues go, was like all the personal attacks. Like these personal attacks weren't about, like, it wasn't the fact that they were talking about me that pissed me off. It's about the fact that someone in my life who's actually emotionally vulnerable was more or less exploited for the purpose of, for none other than shitting on that person because they knew it would piss me off more.
I mean, like the girlfriend stuff.
Yes.
Okay, I'll see.
That's really the only reason I got so vindicated. That's really the only reason I had gotten to that point.
Wait, Gage, I think I hear something from your end. Is there like someone talking to you or something like that?
No, I had a kink in my neck.
Oh, I thought I heard like a scream or something, like a high pitched like. Well, it wasn't that, but it was like. I thought I heard like a high pitched scream or something. Are you playing a game or something?
Well, I had Fallout pause.
Oh, you have. Oh. Oh, okay. I thought it was like Five Nights at Freddy's. It sounded like one of those screams from like Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that.
I wouldn't be able to play that without it being full screen.
Oh, okay. I feel you.
It's a pretty good series. I'll give credit because the lore is fascinating.
The lore is fascinating, really.
Well, think about it. You have this whole mystery about what happened and when it happened and who committed it. Like, you have this big mystery. And that's what gets people so hooked into it. It's because you want to know what happened.
That's nice, Gage.
Like, you don't have to like it. I'm not going to bitch at you for not liking it. It's completely your choice.
I mean, I think it's pretty dorky, to be honest with you.
By all means, you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to mine.
You like?
Okay.
You still have an issue with like Cloud9?
Yeah.
I don't really care about Cloud9 because, like I said, after that last little video towards Marbles, that was just intended to be like just the final event, just to let it all out, so I would no longer be bothered by it, so I can get that monkey off my back.
Okay. If it wasn't intended to be, you understand though that like, if we see this video,
I understand that
obviously,
he may take it the wrong way. I understand that.
But like, how are
but
you
it's
supposed
up to
to like?
him to just decide how he wants to take it.
I mean, how are you supposed to take that differently though? Like, if he sees that like after like you doing nothing for a while and then see, I mean, like, do you really think he would have asked you?
Clear. Like, I should have made it more clear. I'm gonna admit that. But the fact is, it really wasn't intended to be an attack. It was just intended to just get it all out in the open, so it's no longer an issue.
So, do you or do you not have an issue with Marbles anymore?
I don't have an issue with him, but I still want nothing to do with him.
Okay. What about like anyone else in Cloud9, like Heather and like Giba?
Same thing.
Okay.
Like, I'm willing to acknowledge that they're people, and I'm willing to just forget about all of it, but I still want nothing to do with them.
Alright.
Like, I'm going to try to be an adult about this and just forget that it ever happened. But at the same time, I just don't want to be around them.
So you're not willing to apologize for anything then, Gage?
Like, I've already apologized to Marbles for the false accusation. And in this
Well,
video,
yeah,
I've
of
already
course,
made a
but,
little recording towards Emery.
Well, but of course, but you know, the most recent video you made, like I even said to you how like hate filled it was, uh, and it seemed to be like I know that it wasn't meant to be an attack, but it seemed like it was meant to be an attack because you you know pretty much attacked Marble's character and like Heather as well in the video.
Hey, Mike, you called her a cunt.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
that much pent up frustration about something, you can't help but to just dig deep.
Okay, wait, hang on. How are you expecting like a civil discussion if you called like one of the big members of the group a snide cunt? Like, how does that make any sense?
I guess it really doesn't. But that's the
Yeah.
thing. When you get that fucking frustrated, you don't really care what you say when you're that frustrated because you just need to get it out of your system. I mean, think about it. Imagine like you drink way too fucking much and then you know you have to throw up, but you can't reach a toilet, so you just gotta throw up everything that you have just to make sure you'll feel better. It's kind of like that.
Okay. Fucking sure. I mean,
I
like, I
didn't really
feel.
understand that analogy.
Yeah, me neither. Emotions are a lot different than like a physical thing that you're like a over drinking.
Thing
I
is,
feel
though,
like that's just a
at that
lack of self
point,
control that you have.
I admit my self control can be pretty limited at times. But I'm
Like,
human. That's just one of the things about being human. You don't have the ability to limit yourself unless you like really crack down.
no, but like other people, I feel like could have handled that a lot better. Is what I'm saying.
But you got to remember, Nick, every person's different. There's no way of comparing one person to everyone else on the planet because all those other people are also different from each other, as well as
Yeah,
the
but
individual you're analyzing.
yeah, but you can still like see what deviates from the norm. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
Like,
know that deviations are standard.
oh, okay.
Well, think about it.
I'm
If you
just
look at
saying, like,
deviations, these deviations are pretty frequent, and it's not just me.
who else is it?
Well, literally anyone, like 1 in 10 people, for example, 1 in 10 people could be more prone to more agitated or more calm behaviors than others. It's just think about genetics. Like you don't know what they're gonna be like until they get old enough to start displaying those traits.
So you're saying that like what just happened there wasn't a conscious decision. You're saying you were born like that. Like you were born without any self-control.
I'm not born without self-control. It's just when I'm aggravated, my self-control drops significantly. And think about it though, if you need to let everything out, it means that you need to get into the mindset that you were in when it happened, just to make sure you get everything you needed to say out of your system. Otherwise, you're still going to hang on to a little bit of that. And if you hang on to a little bit of it, eventually it's going to build up and become, well, this big problematic thing, unless you manage to get it all out at once.
Okay. Even like ignoring that, why did you have to make a video about that? Why couldn't you have just talked to someone like about how mad it was making you?
Because I figured that if I just let it all out in the open, that it'd be a whole lot easier way, because then I'd have more people to be a sounding board than just like 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, but like then see this is my thing too. Like you're saying that it'll reach like all these different people, but at the same time you were expecting like a rational debate from like you losing your shit on camera. You know, like it's just like it doesn't. Honestly, it makes no sense.
I get what
Like,
you're saying.
especially like online too. You're supposed to have like it's generally a bad idea to like let all of your shit out online
Because
because
people
then
have a tendency to abuse it.
not even just that. Like people are just gonna
They're going to
just
use it
generally
against
like
you or twist it.
not even that. It's just kind of an embarrassing thing to do.
Honestly, I'm not really worried about being embarrassed.
I would be.
Are you really afraid that nameless people over the internet are going to start scrutinizing something if you were to do the same, Nick?
Oh, I'm not like I wouldn't do the same, so I'm not afraid of that. But I'm saying for you, it probably would be a good idea to like be afraid of being embarrassed.
Yeah, because I get pissed off at someone, I'm going to be really embarrassed. Like,
I
I
mean, I would be.
understand that it was a pretty ill-advised decision, but it was literally the only way to get it out.
That was no, that was not the only way to get it out. Don't bullshit me.
Okay, well, it was the only way that I saw I could get it out. Like, if you really want
That's
to get down to it, when you're pissed, you're pretty much limited to very few options unless you have, like, the ability to just, like, start cooling down right away. And when it
kind
comes
of
to
sounds like
shit
you have
like
anger
that,
problems.
I don't have anger problems. I'm good at handling most shit. Like, I can handle stressful situations in most cases just fine. It's just the fact that people I care about were more or less targeted. That's what had gotten me into the point to where I didn't care what I said.
I
Like, if you say
mean,
shit about me, I'm not gonna care because it's me. I don't really care what you say about me because you can't do anything to me. But when you're like literally targeting someone who has problems, who these problems cannot go away, they do not go away, where these problems have to be pharmaceutically remedied for periods of time, that's where it's going to piss the person that they're involved with off because it seems like they're trying to push this person to do some extreme shit, which is going to piss off, well, the person that would be in my position in that given example.
I don't know. I mean, like, really just seems like you could have avoided this by like just talking to someone and not like emptying your shit online. I understand like you're like making the excuse like, oh, it was the only way I thought of it at the time, but like it really shouldn't be. Like I feel like your first reaction should normally be to like talk to like your family or something like that.
Yeah, but
I
it's
feel
going
like
to be
it's a
kind of
lot
hard to
healthier.
explain.
Or friends.
But I thought you
It's
just needed
hard
to
to
get it all
explain
out
that
there.
shit. Thing is, though, it's hard to explain that stuff to your family, though. Like, you can't just, like, say, hey, can you talk to me for, like, 20 minutes, and then you give them, like, almost a 20-minute long lineup of events that led up to it, because otherwise, well, it's just going to seem strenuous.
Strenuous?
It's
I
going to
mean, they're
seem
your
like you're
family.
drawing it out way too much.
They're your family. They're supposed to help you with your fucking problems.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't want to come to your family with your problems because then it feels like you're being a burden to them.
Do you feel that way often? Like, that's kind of
Sometimes.
unhealthy. That's unhealthy. You should not feel that way.
Well, I've been depressed before, so it's not like it's a big jump.
I mean, I'm just saying that shit is really unhealthy, and it's like leading you to the point where like you're emptying your shit out online. I feel like
It
that's
was
kind of underlying of a
careless.
bigger issue.
It was careless.
No, I'm saying like that's kind of underlying of like some trust issues that are going on with like your family.
A
If you
lot of
don't feel
shit's
like you can
happened
tell
within
them
my
certain
family.
things, I understand that, but I'm saying like that's underlying of some issues, and maybe you should see someone about that. Especially, when you post child porn. I feel like that's underlying of some fucking issues too.
Let me guess. You're gonna make some sort of, well, I guess some sort of broad assertion about it.
What about you posting child porn?
You're probably gonna make some assertion about whether or not it was intended for the different reason other than what I claim it was. You're
I
probably
mean,
gonna you're probably gonna say something really fucking stupid and shitty. Probably trying to label me an actual sex offender for it, despite the fact that I don't have any sort of
I'm not the
affiliation
one who
with such
posted
shit.
child porn, so I have no right reason to like feel that way. So
I'm not saying you have a reason to feel that way at all. I'm just saying that
you
it's
just
kind of
listed like
it's
three
it's
different
leaning
ones.
kind of towards it's to me it's leaning towards you just saying
I'm
to
saying you
me
got
what
problems
you're
and
saying.
you fucking like need help. You should stop doing this bullshit.
Well, what do you do, Nick? Tell me what you do.
What do? I hang out with my friends. I'm not on here all the time.
Neither am I.
That's debatable. You always come back though.
So because I enjoy being able to make content, that somehow makes me like what?
It's it's not even that. It's the fact you keep coming back to like people like ganging up on you and like kicking the shit out of you in debates and shit like that, and it's just like what's the point of that? You know, like
I
there's
don't
no
know. Maybe
point.
I'm just a masochist.
It's fucking weird. Is all I'm saying.
I'm not going to debate with you about that particular part because you're probably right about it being weird. But the
All right,
fact
well
is,
that's
this
all I
wasn't
needed to
intended
hear.
to be something irritating.
I don't know. Whatever.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say Lachlan's probably recording all this.
What?
Someone's recording this, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm recording.
I'm not.
Yeah, of course
Figures.
it's being recorded.
Figured he was gonna leverage this in one way or another.
What, me?
Leverage? What? Dude,
You know what
everyone's
that word
just
means?
talking. There's no. What are you talking about? Leverage? I don't get it.
It's a Skype call, Gage.
Yes, but I know for a fact that what I say is pretty much gonna be used to beat me about the head with.
No, what you say will be based on what you say.
Yes, but can I really be able to, like, can I really trust you, Lachlan, well enough to assume that you're gonna leave what I say as it is instead of needing someone to twist it around?
Have you seen all of the calls I do? I don't edit them unless there's silence. Name any person, I've never took anything out of context.
Well, okay, I just wanted to confirm this.
It's not like, Lachlan's gonna sit there with like some soundboard and like edit your voice to make you say something, like in the call, That's kind of stretching a little bit far.
Okay, but nevertheless, I've already established that I'm willing to admit that what I did was wrong, and I hope that Emery will hear the apology within this video. He doesn't have to accept it, nor does he have to take it genuinely, but I do really mean that I'm sorry for taking it too far. I didn't mean for it to go nearly as far as it did, and by the time I had time to think it over, it was too fucking late.
Yeah, you can't really,
Dude, I'm sure he'll care.
Well, he doesn't
really
have to
cover
care.
up, man. You can't really cover up what you did, Gage. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna cover it up.
Well, I mean, you deleting the image, it just seems that way. I mean,
It wasn't a cover up. I just had time to think about it. Like, David, when I showed you the initial, like, the unedited copy, you said, dude, you might be taking this too far, and like,
yeah, I told you were taking it.
And I actually agreed with you. It's like, yeah, wait a minute, maybe this is too much. And I should have listened to my gut instinct about it and have put more thought into what you said instead of just like being so quick to do it. I should have put more thought into it.
That kind of ties into what Nick was saying earlier, though, about how like you don't think when you do stuff.
Yeah, it's like you just plain impulsive.
Sometimes I can be impulsive. That's just how it is.
A little more
Well,
than
there are
sometimes.
sometimes I have there are other times where I have far more self-control.
It just seems like every other day, like, you have to apologize for something you do.
Well, if it comes down to that point, I'll let you know.
It has went down at that point.
Yeah. Were you not here like a minute ago?
Hold on, I got a call from a relative I need to cut out for a minute.
Okay.
What? I just heard someone talking. What?
Does he not know how to mute his mic?
Gage, did you mute your mic, buddy?
I think he did, yeah.
Oh, now he did.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What
Interesting.
a guy. Oh man.
Here's the one thing that I don't really understand. Gage, are you back? Gage?
I think he's still on the phone.
Oh, okay. I'll just wait.
All right.
Well, that's some upsetting news.
What? What happened?
It's nothing.
Oh, okay.
Look, I'm gonna need to leave the call in a couple of minutes. There's some shit going on.
Alright.
Alright.
Can't believe this level of shit. You fucked up big.
What?
Okay, like you can't just say,
I was thinking out
Like-
loud.
yeah, I know, but like, you can't just say like, oh, it's nothing, and then continue to talk about it, and then expect us not to like ask you what is going on.
Like, I have a broken filter. Like, this should be well established that my filter is busted. Like, I think out loud frequently. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it can be hilarious, and other times it just ends up like this.
Jesus Christ.
Don't
that
blame
ties back
Jesus
into
for
the
your problems,
self-control.
Nick.
That's not my problem.
Yes, it is. It's all your problem.
No, it's not.
You're making it your problem.
How am I making it my problem?
You'll know when it happens.
What?
I'm just fucking with your head at this point.
What the fuck does that mean?
I'm just fucking with his head at this point.
Oh.
I thought it was funny, but okay.
I'm just tempted to start naming like random animals and shit, just to really start fucking with people.
Well, now it's not gonna work. You fucking told me.
Yeah.
You're really, really bad at this, man. Like that's wow.
Like, I wasn't actually gonna do it, Nick. That was more or less just me pitching a thought that would have been funny to think. Would have been funny to actually
out loud
do.
again? Is that what you were thinking? You were thinking out loud again?
No, that was just an example.
That was okay. Whatever.
Like, it's like, well, just think about it though. If I were to start listing off random animal names, that would really fuck with somebody.
Yeah, I know. You explaining it is, it's really cementing in my head, man. Like you don't really have to
I
go
hope so.
that far in detail.
I hope it's getting in there.
Oh, yeah, it is. You're being really fucking weird right now.
Please remember this, Nick.
Oh, there's no way I'm gonna forget it. Don't worry.
Honestly, I don't really care what I do or say in this call at this point, because... Oh, shit.
That's fine, you already admitted to, like, the child porn thing.
Yeah, what the...
He left.
Yeah, he left.
Oh my
He's
God.
gone.
Oh, damn it.
Oh. What a shame.
I can't believe that. Yeah, I can't believe he just came outright and admitted everything. Wow.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
What a dodgy twat, Jesus. I can't believe you do that.
Oh man. I know.